Hello. This month's challenge is making a net needle and mesh gauge from a paint stick for the Taiga Apocabox of December. Now, using a paint stick is easy to find, and a lot of times they're free. I got this one for free, and it's good, gives you the material and a good way to practice making a net needle, because you can come out here in the bush and also baton a thin piece of wood and make your net needle from that and your mesh gauge. So using a paint stick gives you the materials to practice, so when you come out here it'll be easier for you if you ever want one or need one. So that there is your net needle and your mesh gauge. Now I'm going to show you how to load these up with twine so you can use it as a needle, and I'm going to show you how to use these on making a net. Now I'm going to be using the same method that Creek Stewart has given us a link with the Taiga Apocabox. He's provided a link that he has a video showing us how to do this, and that's the same method I'm going to use for making my net. So I've got my net needle here, and I've got some twine. Now you're going to want twine that does not hold a memory. So when you bend it around like this, it doesn't keep the shape. Pick it up, it folds right back. That's what you're going to want. And it's pretty simple to load these. What you're going to do is make a loop like this. Put it over top and just twist it a couple times. That's going to hold it in place. And now you're going to flip your stick, go underneath, and always load to the left hand side, going up and over, then down, flip, back in through your left side, down, flip, back in through the left side, and so on until you get this loaded. Now I wanted to show you this a little closer. You want to go through this needle, first off, loop. Put a loop in that. Put it around your needle, in behind like that. Now I'm going to turn this a couple times, just like that there. And now I flip my needle and go in behind and under. Now I'm going to go through the left side, so I'm going to take this and put it in behind like that. Come down, flip it again, go up, in behind my needle, like that again, down, turn it, behind my needle again on the left hand side, then down, behind the needle on the left hand side again, and so on. You just keep doing that until it's all loaded. So you're going down, behind, left side, keep flipping it. And you can see what it does. It builds this up. That gives you the twine you need to make your net. Now when you get to the end, you see I'm almost done. I'll just take that, and actually I'll just leave it long like that, because that's where I'm going to tie onto with this. So what I have right now is about a 3-foot long piece of twine. I'm going to half that like this, and then I'm going to tie one overhand knot right here just to create a loop. That's going to be my anchor point for all my meshes for my top row. And now what I'm going to do is just wrap this around here. You're going to attach this to anything and just tie it to this. So you can tie this to whatever, and this is going to be where I start my net from. So what I've done is I put one overhand knot up top above the knot of this loop. That's going to give me a starting point. And how I'm going to start this is I'm going to take my net gauge, my mesh gauge, I'm going to put that in behind. And then I'm going to take my net needle and go through from underneath this loop. So I'm going to go through and then come down over the gauge like this. So I have went through it and then down to here. Now I can start my weave. So what you have is this here. You have two in behind right here that I just created. And you have that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch this with my thumb and roll it over. I'm going to have to let some line out. Roll it over my thumb, roll it over my finger to hold it in place. Now that I have it in place, I go up here and I go in behind the two I just created. So I've got to weave in behind these like that, and then I want to go through these. And then you want to hold it somewhat tight while you pull it, the knot, in place. And with this top row, you're going to do it a little different because you're going to lock that in place again by going in between those two again and then pulling down. Now that locks it in place. I also brought this down further because this is going to be my initial loops that I'm going to run a line through, and so on. It'll be my top or the side of my neck. Usually this here is your length, and so this would be your top actually, and however many you go down, you'll be deciding that on however many you want to put in. So I've got my top loop right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in behind here again, and I'm going to hook through my anchor loop again. So what I'm going to do is, this is twisting on me, but it is what it is. And now I'm going to hook that, bring it back down, pinch, let some more line out. Going to pinch with my thumb, back up, wrap it around my finger, and then you can see that I have these two again. I'm going to go through once, behind both, and then up through one, and then hold it and tighten it, and there's my knot again. I'm going to pinch my thumb, wrap it around my finger, just go in behind the two again and pull it tight. Now that's going to lock that in place, and that's what you're going to do with the first row. Now let's do this again. I went up through here and bring it down. Now I'm going to pinch this, come over, wrap it around my finger, and I want to go in behind these two and then through those two. And then I want to pull it tight down to my gauge. Now I loop it back down around my thumb, around my finger, and what I just created, that mesh, I want to go in behind that again, right here, and then just pull it tight again to lock those in place. However many loops you make across here, that's going to be the length of your net. So I've went, right now I've got 3 loops. I'm going to go a couple more, and then I'm going to start going into the second part. So I'm going to just bring that up through the back side, bring it down here. I'm going to let some more line out. Okay, so I've got this. Now I'm going to wrap my thumb, wrap my finger, and then I want to go in behind these two, and then through those two. And then we're going to pull it tight again, like that, and then lock it in place. This twine is a little difficult to use, but I figured the orange would be easier to see. So I'm going to go back around and up through again. Let some line out, pinch, pinch, and then in back of those again, and then in through, and then pull tight again. Now I'm going to do it again to lock it. Now this here takes some time. I actually, it took me a little bit to figure it out, but I did get it. So I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm going to bring it back, in through the back side, the two, and then in through just one, and pull it tight. And then I'm going to lock that in place, and that's it. I can start on the second row. Now that I have them all done, I just slide my gauge off. And I have this. Now, this is going to be my start point where your needle ends, or is attached to it. That's going to be my start point for the second row. The second row, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to start looping through these. And I'm going to zoom in close again. I'm sorry, I just checked that last part and it was out of focus some. That's what happens when you self-record. So you can still see how to do it. So, and I can't start over. So I hope that's okay with you all. And you still get the picture. Now I'm going to zoom in again, and I'm going to show you how to start the second row. And this is how you're going to do it from here on out to the size of the gill net you want. So how I'm going to start this one is I'm going to go in behind again, and I'm going to put my needle through this first loop. So I'm going to come in behind, put my needle through, and pull down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down until I stop at this loop. Now I'm going to do the same tie off I normally do. Wrap around my thumb, wrap around my finger, and now this loop here, I'll move this other one to the side a little bit. You can see I have two more right here. I'm going to go up through, in behind them, and then go through the middle again. And then get all this stuff that's wrapped around it out of the way. And I want to go slow with this because I want my knot to be down where that fetches up. Now where that just messed me up a little bit because that was in my way. So now that just means this one on that end is going to be a little larger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that again, the next mesh, come down and wrap it around my fingers, go in behind those two again, and then in through. Now you don't have to lock these ones. These ones are different. I'm going to get all that stuff out of my way. Like I said, this stuff here is a little bit more difficult to try and tie and use, this twine, but you can see how it's working. And now I want to find the next mesh, which is right here. I'll pull that down tight, wrap it around my fingers again, go in behind those two, get the other ones out of the way. And it's important to have your mesh gauge larger than your needle so you can go up and through like this. And then you want to come down and lock it back in place. And then it goes to the next one, which is right here. So we pull it tight, go around my thumb, around my finger, get those ones out of the way again, and in behind the two, get them out of the way again, and then in through. And then pull it tight. And you're going to do that the whole way across. So once you get the hang of it, it is pretty easy. But it can be tricky to catch on at first. It was for me. That's got that loop in it. I pull that down. Now I go in the last one. It's catching a little bit as well. Snagged there one time and it's catching a little bit now, so there you go. That row's done. Now you would switch over and you'd start this row, and the same thing. You would go in through here, so you go up through like that, come back down, and in between those, or in behind those two, and then in between, and pull it tight. And then go to the next one. Next mesh, same thing. So I finished that row off, and what I'm going to do is start this again. I'm going to put my gauge up to it and go in through that first mesh that I made, and then bring my gauge up to that mesh. Now I just hook it around and tie it off the same way. Put it in behind the two, and then in through the two. And I'm hoping that this here is giving you some idea how to do this. For me, it was easier to try it, and then I got it, because it's hard to show, and I know it's going in and out of focus and so on, you know, every once in a while. So try this out and see how you make out with it. But I just kind of hold it with my finger until I tighten it up, just so it keeps it in place for when I tighten, so then the knot's not riding up and such, because it does. And if it rides up, it just makes that one mesh a little bigger, which may not mean a big deal, you know, in a lot of applications. So I'm just going to take this and finish it off a little bit, and then I'll show you what it looks like and how it actually resembles a net. So I'm just going to keep going right along each one of these meshes and locking it the same way each time. And you would do this the same way for as long as you wanted to make your net. Or actually, how wide. If you wanted a 6-foot net, you'd make 70 at 1 inch meshes. You'd have 72 loops up here, so that would be your 72 across. And then if you wanted 2 feet deep, you'd make 24 down, kind of thing. I'm only making a small portion here just to show you how it's done. Now this here would be something to do around camp if it's raining out and so on. The Taiga people use gill nets a lot, and a lot of cultures around the world do as well, because it's a very effective way to catch fish. You can see there it's starting to, you know, look like a net. I'm going to do a couple more rows and then I'll show you. I've done a couple more and I'm almost running out of line on my needle. Now, when I come to the end of my needle, I would just tie on a piece of line. After I fill up my needle again, I could just tie that on here and keep going. Now, that is done as far as I'm going to go with it. So what I'm going to do is this main loop up here, I'm just going to cut that. And I can cut it off there as well. And now I have the start of a net. You can see the loops would be up here, and then your net goes out through. So there's my net right there, and it's pretty even. It's a couple spots and a little bit off. This twine is very hard to work with, but I wanted to do the orange twine. There's other twines that work really well with it and hold a knot better. This one here, if you can get the knots tight, it works well, but they'll almost self-loosen with this as well. So it's not a great twine for it, but I thought you could see it better. So I hope you like this video, and I hope it gives you some instruction on how to weave a gill net or any type of net. I thought it was a pretty good skill to know, but I also think it's one of those ones you have to practice from time to time, or you may forget the steps that you need to make it. Now me, a year down the road, if I do not practice this, it may not come to me very quickly, that's for sure. So that's just a little bit of info that if you learn this skill, I think you should keep up on it so you remember it if you ever need that skill or want to do it. So thanks a lot, and I want to thank Creek for this great box. I really enjoyed the Taiga Apocabox and learning a new skill, because this is new to me as well. So thanks a lot for watching, and take care.